Asma, and today we're going to make individual tiramisu cups. I have made a cake from Christmas tiramisu on my channel before. That video is a lot more detailed on how you could make tiramisu, so be sure to check that out. Today I'm going to make tiramisu in cups. It would be served individually. The recipe for this one is the exact same as the one I made before, but today I'm going to show you how to decorate these tiramisu to make it look very fancy. You can serve these for dinner parties. They look really nice, so it would also be very impressive, and they of course taste delicious. So let's get started. First off, we're going to prepare the egg yolks. Now obviously we don't want to eat any raw eggs in the tiramisu, which is why we're going to cook these over a double boiler. I have 6 egg yolks here that I've already separated. We will not need any egg whites in this recipe, so you could use it for something else like making a chiffon cake. Prepare a pot of boiling water, and we're going to pour the egg yolks into a bigger bowl. We're also going to pour in the white granulated sugar. Once the water starts to boil, you want to turn the heat down to low, then place over the bowl, and start whisking immediately. Do not stop mixing because you don't want the egg yolks to clump up while the egg yolks are cooking. Keep stirring for around 10 minutes for the egg yolks to cook, and you want to mix it until it's nice and fluffy and a lot more pale in color. Once the egg yolks are ready, you can take it off the heat, scrape down the sides of the bowl one last time, and wait for it to cool. Meanwhile, we're going to prepare the coffee. I have some instant coffee here, and I'm going to pour over 6 ounces of boiling water. The egg yolks has now cooled, so I'm going to combine this with the mascarpone cheese. Just going to add this all in and fold it in. Since the egg yolks are nice and fluffy, you don't want to deflate it too much, so just fold the cheese in as much as possible. The cheese will almost thin out the egg yolk mixture, so don't worry too much, it is normal. And I like to start off by folding it in, and then once it gets a little bit thinned out, I like to mix it with a whisk. Just mix until there are no more lumps of cheese. You could pass this mixture through a sieve if you feel like it's a little lumpy to make sure it's nice and smooth. Now we can start to whip the cream. Now when you're working on everything else, it's best to keep it in the fridge so it's nice and cold, which will help it whip up a lot better. I'm going to be using a stand mixer today, but you could also use a hand mixer. I'm using a whisk attachment, and I'm going to pour in all of my cream. And we're just going to whip this until stiff peaks. The cream has now reached stiff peaks, so we could combine this with the egg yolk and cheese mixture. Now it is very important that you fold these two things together so you don't deflate all of the cream and the mousse is still nice and fluffy. So I'm going to take about 1/3 of the cream, and I'm going to mix it into the egg yolk and cheese mixture to lighten it up, and then I can add the rest. To fold, go around the bowl and press down the center to mix the cream into the mixture without deflating it completely. Make sure you don't add all of the cream at once, because then it would be very difficult to mix all of it together without deflating the cream. And keep turning the bowl to make sure everything gets mixed nice and evenly. Once you can no longer see streaks of white and lumps of cream, you could add another 1/3. Once again, fold it all in. Go around the sides of the bowl, press down the center, and keep spinning the bowl. To float my mousse into a large piping bag to make it a lot easier to fill into the cups. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, I just feel like this is a lot neater. Everything is now ready, so we could start to put together the tiramisu cups. I have already snipped off the tip of the piping bag, and again you could spoon it in if you want to. I just want it to look nice and neat. I'm going to pipe a layer of cream on the bottom of the cup. Now we're going to cut the ladyfingers into 3 to 4 pieces. The smaller it is, the less air pockets there will be in the tiramisu, so it's up to you how big you want to cut it. Then we're going to roll it in some coffee and arrange it into the cup. Make sure when you're dipping the ladyfingers, don't soak it for too long. You don't want to get soggy. Try to leave as little space as you can between them so that there's not as much air pockets. Now we're just going to repeat this process until the cup is full. You want your second layer not to be too thick because you want to leave space for the lady fingers for the last layer. You don't want the lady fingers too close to the top because later on we're going to be poking in some decorations and you want them to be able to stand up. So you want the chocolate decorations to stand in the mousse instead of standing between the lady fingers. Once you piped on our second layer of mousse, I like to tap the bottom of the cup on my hand to release any air bubbles and to settle it down. I would suggest you to cut and dip the ladyfingers in the coffee before you put it on the mousse so that the ladyfingers could absorb the liquid a little bit so it doesn't make the tiramisu watery. You don't have to be this extra and put as much ladyfingers, but I do like ladyfingers in my tiramisu, so I like to fill it completely. You can add more or less depending on how you like your tiramisu. Prepare a bowl to catch the excess mousse, and I have a large offset spatula here. Just gonna scrape off the surface. I've used up all of my mousse. I've made 4 cups today, but that will depend on the size of your cups. So now I'm going to place these in the fridge and start working on the chocolate decorations. Today I'm going to be using some chocolate chips, some white sprinkles, some coffee beans, and I'll also have some fresh mint leaves. First off, we're going to melt and temper the chocolate chips. And to temper it, basically so that it could harden on its own at room temperature, we're going to take out 1/3 of the chocolate chips. And we're just going to melt the rest of the chocolate until it's smooth. Once the chocolate is smooth, we're going to add in the chocolate that we reserved and mix it until it completely melts. If you find your chocolate a little bit too thick, you could add a little bit of coconut oil to thin it out. You could also add in some canola oil, but I like to use coconut oil because it solidifies at room temperature. The chocolate is melted, I thinned it out, so now we can start to pipe it out. I'm going to be using a Ziploc bag today, so I stood it up in a cup, and we're just going to pour in the chocolate that we just melted and tempered. I prepared a baking tray and I lined it with some parchment paper. I'm going to be making a couple of different decorations to make my tiramisu look really fancy, but obviously you could do whatever you like. I just have a couple of ideas here. Now I'm going to dust on a good layer of dark cocoa powder. You want to cover the cups completely, but don't do too much because this is quite bitter. Dust on as much or as little cocoa powder as you like. As you can see here, I have half of them that is completely covered, and for the other 2, I just dusted cocoa powder in the middle of the cup, which makes it also look very special. I'm going to start placing on the chocolate decorations along with the mint leaves, the sprinkles, and the coffee beans, which are all optional. You want to be delicate when you're handling the chocolate because they might break. And again, you can use whatever you like to decorate this tiramisu to however you like. That's how you make individual tiramisu cups. You can see these look very fancy, they're impressive for pretty much any occasion, and the texture is best when you chill for at least 6 hours or even overnight, which is best for the cream and the cheese to firm up. You can decorate these however you like. I made 4 cups today, but the amount that you make will depend on the size of your cups. Be sure to check out my previous video of Christmas tiramisu that is a cake form. I really hope you could try these out. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time. Bye!